live from the Andre kitchen. Just wanted to make a quick announcement about the fitness that you've normally been watching on the Chapel channel. For the time being, we've pivoted a little bit, and that'll be on the Touchdown channel, the channel you're watching currently. That may change back, but for now, the channel guide in HCV Health is incorrect. And if you're interested in morning fitness, you'll want to watch it on the Touchdown channel. So, without further ado, I'll turn it over to Chef Tanner.
Good morning, everybody. Today we are going to do our delicious eggplant parm. We menu this one quite often, and we do have a lot of good feedback on it, and a lot of people that order it. So we're going to do a little demo on how we make it today. We are going to start off. We have our dredge station set up, flour, egg wash, panko breadcrumbs. We have our tomatoes ready to go. Got our eggplant sections here. Got some celery, carrots, onions, and we're just going to jump right in. The first thing we're going to do is start with our sauce. This is sort of a long process making marinara sauce because it is so rich. So we're going to start off with a pot, and we're going to put about a tablespoon of olive oil in it, extra virgin. And from there we are going to go in with our mirepoix. Now a mirepoix is a mixture of celery, carrots, and onions. The ratio of the mixture is 50% onion, 25% carrot, and 25% celery. That's going to go into our pot, and we are going to toss that on the stove on a medium-high heat. And we're going to begin to sweat those down a little bit. Now with that being said, you can go ahead and prepare for the rest of your sauce while those sweat down. I have some Roma tomatoes here. I have taken the core off of them. I've halved them. It's not super important to get these really small when they go into our sauce because they are going to be macerated. So they will cook down. I like to have them so they cook a little faster that way. And here I have some eggplant that's been peeled and sectioned. You may see the eggplant come in circles at times. We like to do it like this, in planks. It's a little bit different, and we've had good feedback on it. So that's the way we went with it today. And as you can probably hear, our pot back here, our veggies are sweating down. We're going to sweat these down until they are opaque in color, a little bit clear. Should take about 10-15 minutes, and once they get to that point, we're going to toss in a tablespoon of garlic. We're going to sweat that down as well, and that goes in a little bit later than the original mirepoix because the garlic obviously is a little finer and cooks a little faster. And if you've watched in the past, you know that the garlic is the easiest thing to burn. So that has a little less cooking time on it, but that'll go in there and that'll sweat down for about 5 more minutes. And then we will go in with a tomato paste. Now you can make tomato paste. It's a long process. We use it out of a can. It's just as good. It's a really good product. So your 5 minutes has gone by. Your garlic and mirepoix is sweated down. You go in with tomato paste. Here I have about half a cup. That's going to go in, and we are going to coat all of our mirepoix and our garlic in this tomato paste. Now this tomato paste is what's going to bring the richness to our sauce. As you can see, everything is coated nicely in tomato paste there. And we are looking for this tomato paste to turn almost a gold color. So that'll cook down. We're going to turn down to a medium heat. We don't want to scald any of this. So we're going to let that go for a couple of minutes, and we are going to get our egg wash ready here. Now here we have all-purpose flour. We have an egg wash. This is 3 beaten eggs and some panko breadcrumbs. And we'll start by getting these breadcrumbs crushed up nice and small. If you have a food processor, you can toss them in there and give them a quick buzz. If not, it's okay to just crunch them up by hand. Make sure they're a nice, fine texture. We don't want them too big. By crushing them up, it helps them stick to the eggplant a little better. So, we are checking on our sauce. Our tomato paste is starting to turn from red to gold, which is what we're looking for. We'll give that a couple more minutes. While we do that, we will season up our mixture here. Into the flour, we're going to go in with a teaspoon of granulated garlic, a teaspoon of granulated onion, a tablespoon of fresh chopped parsley, a teaspoon of paprika, and a pinch of white pepper. And now we will give this a quick toss. Make sure everything's incorporated. And again, keep an eye on our sauce back here. And our tomato paste is starting to turn a nice golden color. So we're going to toss in about a cup of red wine to help deglaze that pan from the tomato paste that's been on there. Stir that around. We're going to let that reduce by half. Again, we're on a low heat here. We don't want to cook this too fast. Usually when making sauce like this, the slower and longer you cook it, the better it will turn out. So we toss that in there, that's going to reduce by half. We can also, at this point in time, go in with our tomatoes. And we can let these cook down as well. Now I had about 14 Roma tomatoes here. This will make enough for 2. We're going to get those in there. We're going to let those cook down. And like I said, you can also at this point in time go in with a little bit of chicken stock to give yourself a little bit more liquid for those tomatoes to cook in. The water in that over time will evaporate and cook out, and you'll be left with that nice flavor. We're going to let that cook down for about a half hour at this point in time. You want it on a low heat, just a simmering heat. You don't want it to boil. You don't want it to cook too quickly because it may scald. So that's on a really low heat. Back to our dredge here. We have our flour seasoned up, ready to go. We have our eggs beaten in the pan in the middle. And we have our breadcrumbs crushed up finely here on the end. Also going to toss about a tablespoon of parsley into the breadcrumbs as well to give those little eggplant sections some good color on the outside there. Mix that in. Our eggplant goes right into our flour mixture. Shake off any excess. Make sure they're all coated nice and evenly. And then they will go into our egg wash. And when you're doing a dredge, try to always keep a wet hand, dry hand. So this will be my wet hand if you're doing more than one batch. That way, once you go into the wet with your wet hand, you don't want to go back into the dry, otherwise your fingers will get coated and covered like your eggplants will be. So keep one wet hand, dry hand. Get your eggplant coated completely in the egg wash, and then into the breadcrumbs we will go. Set those in there, give them a nice firm press. You don't want to smash them though, because then you'll have pulverized eggplant. Make sure they're all coated evenly. And once that is done, we will return back to our stove. We will get a pan ready for frying. Now you can deep fry these eggplants if you have the luxury of having a deep fryer at home. If not, you can do a quick shallow fry on the stove. I'll aim you back over here. I'll give you a look inside our marinara sauce pot so far. You can see the liquid in there is a nice gold color. It's going to give our sauce some great flavor. Those tomatoes are cooking down nicely. Like I said, this will take at least a half hour. The longer and the slower you cook it, the better it'll turn out. So we have a skillet here. We're going to go into our skillet, depending on the size of your skillet, but you want the bottom of the skillet covered in oil. I'm using extra virgin olive oil here. And we're going to get that heating up to fry our eggplant in. Now would be the good time to, if you would like to serve this dish with pasta, toss your pasta in a pot of boiling water, get that ready to go. So that way when your eggplant is done, you have something to accompany it with. Pasta normally takes 7 to 8 minutes to cook if your water is already boiling. So I'd say that's all the cook time we have left on this eggplant. It'd be a great time to get your pasta started. So from here, once our oil is good and hot, we'll give it another minute or so. Thank you. Once our oil is good and hot, we can bring our eggplant right next door and get it ready to go in. I'm dropping a pinch of flour into the oil, and if I see the flour bubbling, I know the oil is hot, because there's no way to tell by just looking at it. So this is just a little trick that I learned to know when your oil's hot. Just drop a little pinch of flour in, and if you see the flour start to bubble, you know your oil's hot. And I can see it bubbling, and our oil's good and hot, so we're going to go ahead and go in with our eggplant. Now you want to be very careful not to splash yourself when you're doing this. You don't just want to drop it right in there. You basically want to set it down away from you. So you're going to set down the long side first, and you're going to lay it down away from you. So that way if it does splash, it splashes that way. Something I learned the hard way, which I'll share with you, so you don't have to learn it that way as well. And we will get these in here in a nice shallow fry. While we're doing that, I am going to add some seasoning to our marinara sauce here to let that cook down together. This is about a tablespoon of dried basil, and a tablespoon of dried oregano, or teaspoon rather, I'm sorry. Now these seasonings are obviously better to use fresh, but we're getting to the point in the season where that may not be an option anymore, so dried works as well.
Is there a reason why you added them later?
Really they can be added at any time. We're going to go ahead and flip our eggplant. You can see it getting nice and golden brown on the edge, or I can, so I'm going, that tells me I need to give it a flip. Cooking rather quickly. Our heat is fairly high, so this should be done fairly quickly. It only takes about 2 to 3 minutes per side. Doesn't take very long once you have the initial breading process complete. And I'm now seeing that it's getting golden brown on the other side as well. So we are going to pull these out of here. We can come over to our plating area. Get you a better angle here. And we can put these right on top of some beautiful linguine. Now mind you, our sauce would have been done beforehand. After it's cooked its full half hour, if you have an immersion blender, you can toss it in there, or use the immersion blender to go ahead and immerse it and blend the sauce. If not, you can toss it in a regular blender and blend it up that way to puree it. And what you will come out with is a beautiful, rich marinara sauce to top your eggplant parm with. So we're going to put a little bit of this over the top. And finish that with a little bit of fresh grated mozzarella. And another little pinch of fresh parsley for color. And there you have our eggplant parm. Thanks for watching.